of the 1.5 million Armenians who perished in the genocide of 1915. Please stand. Thank you. Is that unbelievable? Item number 1, acceptance of meeting minutes. Minutes from meetings of March 3rd, 2015 to be accepted and approved by the Town Council. Do I have a motion to accept the meetings?
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Catanzaro, seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
Let's have it. Item number 2, fiscal year, budget 2015-2016. Mayor Lombardi to present the budget for fiscal year 2015-2016. First?
I think everyone has a copy of that budget. I know we'll have a number of meetings in the coming month. If there's any questions in the meantime, feel free to call our office. And also appreciate you allowing that budget to be presented to you this evening. Thank you.
I'll now read the mayor's letter into the record. Dear council members, enclosed herewith you will find my administration's proposed budget for fiscal year 2015-2016. This budget continues to represent my philosophy on managing the town's finances in a manner that will strengthen the town's financial future. Furthermore, if this 2015-2016 budget is passed by this council, it will result in a budget requiring no tax increase. Throughout the past year, the town has had a number of significant accomplishments, accumulating in 5 consecutive municipal surpluses. As a result of our coalition of mayors lobbying the General Assembly, the North Providence School Department will receive an additional $1.75 million in state aid, which will reduce the tax burden on the North Providence taxpayers. In addition, the town has continued to retire significant debt. The town's landfill bond and high school bond have been paid in full. This year, the town will also make the final payment on its $10 million deficit reduction bond. Furthermore, the town's mandated rainy day fund, which was necessitated by the State Auditor General as a condition of the town's deficit reduction plan, is now 80% funded, 5 years ahead of schedule. Additionally, our fire department has received the only A-class rating awarded by the Insurance Services Organization in the state of Rhode Island, only one of 64 nationally. This Class A rating will benefit our residents by potentially lowering and stabilizing their homeowners' insurance premiums. Also, our town was ahead of the curve in combining services besides collaborating with our neighboring town of Johnston, i.e. animal control, CDBG grants, fire and range. We have also continued to merge departments within our town and schools. After achieving significant savings from our public buildings merger, we have now implemented consolidation of our IT departments. As a result of the savings that have been generated by paying off our municipal debt, I am embarking on a plan to improve our town's aging infrastructure by instituting a road repaving program over the next several years. My original budget proposal for the road resurfacing was $850,000, but unfortunately, due to the unexpected Rhode Island pension settlement imposing an additional $228,000 payment, reducing my original proposal to $621,000. In addition, we have conducted an analysis of the town's existing parks in order to adequately evaluate any necessary improvements to ensure that our residents and children continue to enjoy a better quality of life. Lastly, the town, through significant grant money and at minimal cost to the taxpayers, has continued to improve the grounds at Camp Meehan on Twin River Reservoir. I anticipate that the work at this park will be completed by year-end and that next year our residents will be able to enjoy all its natural beauty and amenities. In closing, I look forward to working with each council member during the ensuing budget process in order to pass a budget that is both responsible and addresses the needs of our taxpayers. Very truly yours, Charles Lombardi, Mayor. I'd like to entertain a motion to accept the budget and authorize the town clerk to advertise for a public hearing.
So So moved. Second.
Motion's been made by Councilman Juicy, seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 3, Purchasing Board. Mayor Lombardi requests discussion and possible vote concerning the Purchasing Board.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. There's been a few issues that have become concerning to us concerning the Purchasing Board. Not any of the members, by the way, or their actions. It's taken a considerable length of time, more so than ever, to go out to bid. We're having to expend additional dollars, because we have to get any person that's involved in any bid, whether it be a department head or any of our employees, because you have to pay them overtime to come in at night. So there's a few issues that need to be addressed, and, at this point in time, I would respectfully request that this council send this to either your Ordinance Committee or maybe your Finance Committee, so that the issues that are concerning to us can be discussed and hopefully addressed. The final decision will be yours, but we need to make sure that we pass this concerns and issues on to you.
Does anybody have any questions for the mayor?
We also, at this point, I don't mean to interrupt, but we also have a couple of the members of the Purchasing Board and our purchasing agent, Mike, if there's any immediate questions at hand. But I think this is needs to be addressed in, a committee meeting, have all the parties come in, and so that you can make a fair decision. And if it stays the way it is, that's what it is. But we need to make sure that you know exactly what's happening at this point in time.
Like I said to you when we spoke, my goal with this council was to strengthen the committees. I feel as though the committee is where issues can be vetted out instead of this forum, and we can really get into the meat of each subject and then bring it back here for votes. So I'd like to entertain a motion to put this item in the Ordinance Committee.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. Motion's been made by Councilwoman Catanzaro, seconded by Councilwoman Warren. All those in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Mr. President,
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a second motion. That ordinance meeting, I would like an invitation to be sent to the current purchasing board members so they know when that meeting is, so all of them can have input to answer any of the questions or the concerns that, the mayor might have.
Do I have a
I'll make
second?
that,
I'll
a
second that motion.
Okay, a motion's been made by Councilwoman Catanzaro, seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Item number 4, trash removal. Mayor Lombardi requests discussion on trash removal. That's
Mr. Chairman, I respectfully request that item be removed, and hopefully we'll be back next month. We're waiting for a little more information from our trash hauler, MTG.
Would you like that continued?
Could you place it on the the May meeting, so at least we'll be scheduled to come here?
Do I need to make a motion? So I'd like to entertain a motion to continue that meeting.
What is that, the 5th, maybe?
May.
This is the 5th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilman Juicy, seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 5, medical coverage. Mayor Lombardi requests discussion concerning medical coverage pertaining to TDI.
Yes,
Excuse me, Council President, Mr. President, I'll be recusing from this item.
Okay. For the record, Councilwoman Brady will be recusing herself on this item. Mayor?
yes, Mr. Chairman, once again, I'm going to pass out a packet to each and every council member. There are a couple of concerns that we have with this present system, and hopefully, once you read this, and if you could also, I know there are a few public safety employees here this evening, and I'll also afford them a copy of this packet. And maybe, again, Mr. Chairman, the right forum may be one of your committees, and invite everyone in that has any interest in this particular item, come in, vet their concerns, and at that point in time, report back to this entire council, so that, again, you can make an honest and fair decision. So I'm going to pass out, I think this. If that's all, basically, I have to say, I don't know that this would be the forum here this evening to state some of the reasons. They're on the face of that packet. And again, I would be looking forward, and anyone from my administration, to come before you to answer all of the questions, or at least state to you our a reason for proposing this.
Would anyone else like to discuss this matter before I put this in a committee? Just state your name for the record, please.
John Laurie, I'm president of Local 2334 North Province Firefighters. John Laurie. I'm going to defer to the letter that I presented to all the council members, and I'm going to hold my thoughts until I get a chance to review this, and then maybe meet at this ordinance committee.
Okay. Sounds
Is that okay?
good. All right, well, I'm going to make a motion to put this, I'm going to entertain a motion to put this item into the ordinance committee.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilman Giusti, seconded by Councilman Fiola. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, also, we'll, once, who's the chairman? You are, Manny? So that once you schedule a meeting, to make sure that Mr. Laurie is notified, so everyone can sit in the same room. Thank you.
I have a question, Mr. President.
Sure.
Is this agenda item only specific to the firefighters, the TDI medical? It just says on here TDI medical, but is it specific?
Yes, because they're the only body that has the availability, pays into the TDI, and also is afforded collection of it.
1033 doesn't pay into TDI?
No, we don't have that situation with 1033.
Okay. Then what I would ask, Mr. Chairman, when it goes into committee, if it would be posted that on here it says discussion concerning medical coverage pertaining to fire department,
I agree with that.
TDI, so anyone who wants to go to that meeting from the public knows that it's specifically for firefighter TDI.
Okay, a motion's been made by Councilman Catanzaro. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Fiola. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm just going to take one item. Is that okay? While, because Councilwoman Brady has to recuse herself, just to get that out of the way so she doesn't have to come back down. Item number 13.
Oh, Mr. President, I'm recusing also. You're taking the COLA?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
recusing.
Item number 13. Just note for the record, Councilwoman Catanzaro will be recusing on this issue. Item number 13, Fire Department Cost of Living Allowance. James P. Grandy Sr. requests to appear before the council to address the future funding of the Fire Department Cost of Living Allowance, COLA. Mr. Grandy here?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm coming for you tonight. This is an issue that I have requested. It's almost 2 decades now long. As the council know, the COLA is funded as a line item in the budget, has been since its inception. Dating back to its inception, it was never thought to establish a proper funding mechanism to support this going into the future. Again, I had beat this drum almost 20 years ago, and again, over the past couple of administrations, this previous and the current administration, we've requested some form of a fund to be established as well. Seeing what happened with the police pension fund and, the gift that we were given to bail that out, It was a wonderful thing, and it's freed up a lot of monies that would have had to have been allocated to sustain that fund as well. We're simply looking for something to be done through the council, through the budget, with money that's being freed up, as stated, with the payment of bond money that's been freed up now and going into the future. I believe there's another somewhere between $4 and $6 million from now to 2017, 2018. We're looking for something to start somewhere to fund this thing out. You know, this isn't a quick fix. We're looking for something a decade down the road or whatever. I understand that it's sustainable as we do it now through the budget as a line item, but it will continue to grow. Only as members and beneficiaries die off will that reduce, but the likelihood of that is minimal. So I come before you to ask, through a finance committee, however you choose to do it, to look into some form of starting some type of a trust, if you would, to sustain this. So we do not become one of these other towns that we've seen in the state, 10, 15 years down the road and telling the people, sorry, we don't have the money to pay you anymore. We're looking to avoid that, and I believe we have the ability to avoid that. I think we can be a model for the state, as we have with the police pension fund, and I think if we utilize proper monies that's freed up now, this is something that can be sustained way out into the future. So that's what my request is from you tonight.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Grandy?
Thank you.
With that being said, I think the best route for this would be to put this in the Finance Committee, and we'll have a hearing on this. I'd like to entertain a motion to move this item to the Finance Committee.
So moved. So moved. Second.
Motion's been made by Councilman Giusti, seconded by Councilman Faiola. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Item number 6. Resolution in opposition to legislation concerning partially constructed developments from taxation. Mayor Lombardi requests support of a resolution in opposition to H5044, H5173, and S559, all of which to seek to exempt partially constructed development from taxation. I looked into this legislation, and basically what these bills say is that if you build a new home in town, basically we wouldn't be able to collect taxes until someone moves into it. So really any new residential development, whether it be a condo, a house, we would not be able to collect any taxes on it until a person moves into that dwelling. So, Mayor, would you like to elaborate any more, or is that?
Basically, you said it all. We have, chances are we have the mill maybe that we're going to be supporting, rebuilding. We could lose thousands of dollars. I know this is an issue around the state, especially with those communities that still have a lot of land, and availability for new home construction. So I know that our coalition of mayors, managers, and administrators are opposed to this legislation, and rightfully so. So we're here tonight asking the council to support a resolution to the General Assembly opposing this legislation. There is absolutely, positively no gain for the town, only a loss if this legislation passes. So,
Everyone received the legislation, so is there any questions on it?
Mr. President,
Councilman Canzaro?
it says partially constructed developments. So we're looking at doing something with like a tax break for property, in Lymansville.
Mm-hmm.
So is this relating to that, or is this homes, residential homes?
I think it's any development in town.
So a development like that, so we'd be contradicting ourselves if we didn't support this, and then we do,
No, because we wouldn't be able to collect any taxes. And like, say it was built and no one moved into it for 10 years.
okay,
For 10 years, if it was empty, the town would collect zero taxes on it.
so it's only if it's not vacated.
No, it's in other words, what they're saying is, unless somebody occupies the space, they're not gonna be taxed. And like Chairman said, the President said, if somebody chooses not to move into that house or that condo for 10 years, we can't collect as a town any taxes on that property until somebody occupies that space. You know,
Okay.
and it's not the same as the mill. The mill, that's completely different.
If I may,
Just
Mr. Chairman.
The way
But-
it's worded, it says concerning partially constructed developments from taxation. So if we're looking to do a tax stabilization program, I wanted to make sure it wasn't
I
contradicting
think,
itself.
if I
That's
may,
all.
Chris, I think what this means is that, let's assume somebody gets a permit to build a house here. We have the availability to go in and tax 50%, 70%, or whatever. What this legislation is stating, and until that house is occupied, maybe it's 2 years, maybe it's a year, maybe it's 6 months, whatever, we can't tax that property. So I think it'd just be advantageous for this council to support.
Legal counsel just informed me, in situations like the mill, it actually gives us more flexibility to negotiate a tax rate and stuff like that.
Okay.
Because they will have to pay something.
Okay.
Rather than nothing. So.
All right, good, thank you.
Any other questions?
I make a motion that we do not support these bills that are in.
I second it.
So a motion's been made by Councilman Juicy, seconded by Councilman Warren. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 7. Easement approval and the acquiring of 3 feet of land from the town of North Providence for Rhode Island Department of Transportation. Mayor Lombardi requests approval authorization to execute the documents regarding the RIDOT to acquire 3 feet of town land and a temporary easement over town property for 2 years in order to complete the necessary repairs on Woonasquatucket Avenue. Mayor?
So I think we've been waiting quite some time for Woonasquatucket Avenue to be reconstructed, sidewalks, curbing, road. So they have an issue where they'd be moving some poles, and they need 3 feet of property. And taking a look at it, at first I thought they were going to utilize some of the parking at Romano Park, or Field, so to say. Parking is at a premium there right now, so we clarified that that's not the issue. I think that, and I would defer to you guys, but I think it's the right thing to support this and hope to move along the reconstruction of Woonasquatucket Avenue.
I got a question, Mr. President.
Councilman?
Where's the property that they're gonna buy?
So you want to talk about that property right near the mill in, near Romano
We own that property?
Field area? We own some property right there.
All right. All right, I know where it is. I know
Near the
exactly-
mill, there, Manny?
I know exactly where it is.
So again, when we first heard about this, we thought that they were looking for permission to park some of their equipment with the easement and at the Romano Field. So that was a concern, but we spoke to the people from DOT, and that's not the situation.
Will they be restoring the property to its prior use?
Yes.
Okay.
We saw the plans to reconstruct that road. They're about 2 years behind. And also, that meeting we had concerning the water a little further south, that's going to be addressed as part of this project. So it should be pretty nice. And then if the mill gets going at some point, that whole area will, and everyone's property will increase in value.
Does anybody have any other questions for me?
No?
When's the project supposed to start?
I want to say that they're saying that it's going to start within a couple of months. And again, it's the DOT, so they're trying their best also.
Do they
We-
have to notify all the abutters?
They're going to have to do that, Chris. Not us. That's not our situation at this point. It is a state road, so.
Even if it's our property?
Yeah, well, we're gonna deed that 3 feet to them, so, but it's not really affecting, anyone per se.
Yeah, go ahead.
If the state came in and took that land with all hospitals, no one would believe it. Because it's just, I'm with Ben there, it's just a wide expanse of property. I think it's just a public safety issue.
Right.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even know the truth if they took it with all hospitals. And it's not average for the state taking property.
And Dick makes a good point, to be very honest with you, when we looked at it, we didn't realize it was ours.
Okay, I'm going to entertain a motion to approve the granting of 3 feet and the easement subject to our town council, legal counsel, and a town solicitor agreeing to a proper easement agreement.
So moved.
Second?
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Brady, seconded by Councilwoman Catanzaro. All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 8, BV license for Talento's Family Restaurant, LLC, DBA Talento's Ice House. Discussion and possible vote with regard to the issuance of a summons to appear related to the BV liquor license held by Talento's Family Restaurant, LLC, DBA Talento's Ice House. Is anybody here from Talento's Ice House? Nobody's here? So I'd like to entertain a motion to cancel this license.
So moved.
Second?
Motion's been made by Councilman Juicy, seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion, license has been canceled. Number 9, liquor license associated with 1460 Mineral Spring Avenue. Josefifano, owner of the property located at 1460 Mineral Spring Avenue, requests to appear before the town council to discuss the liquor license held by Talento's Restaurant associated with that location and the state of the town business climate. Mr. Josefifano.
Hello, Josefifano. Regarding the previous motion on the license, is that now removed from the location for 1460?
Subject to an appeal period, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the appeal period is? 20 days. Okay. I have some other tenants that are looking at that location, and just to basically give the town an update. Having a number of properties on Mineral Spring Avenue, I've contacted a number of national tenants, none of them which want to come to North Providence. Our business climate here is well known amongst a lot of the real estate people who handle the situations where a business moves to towns or certain locations in the state. What I've seen now is that our taxes are so high, that building's about $17,000 a year. Plus, we're paying about $4,000 in tangible taxes, so it's $21,000 a year in taxes, not counting other fees. So what I have to do is I have to keep lowering what I get for rent as the taxes keep going up. So it keeps taking on one end and losing on another. And I just wanted to make the town council aware of that, and that in this climate, for me, that if it were up to me at this point, that I would dump everything and I'd get out. I mean, because the way the town has been run for a number of years, and not blaming anybody here in this room, outside of this room, but things we've done that should never have been done if you were running a business that you could not run your business correctly. It was easier to come out there and say to you, we'll raise taxes, raise taxes, raise taxes. But if I were going to sell a hamburger, my hamburger would be like $55 right now. That's what it would be if I took that type of philosophy. So again, going forward, I don't know what the plans are with the town. I know everybody talks about change. We want to make it business friendly. Everything's got to kind of rein itself in, or it's going to end up like West Ward. And it's really, it's a bad business climate for us with our buildings in the town. I believe Mineral Spring Avenue, for the type of road it is, has the highest vacancy ratio in the state. So it's not something to be proud of, but it's something to correct. It's not something to blame anyone about, but it's something to correct. And I've seen it all my life from 8 years old, sitting in this council chambers when my father was building his first building. And what I watched was the politics in the town and who was going to hit this guy and that guy and try to you know, squeeze this one, squeeze that one. But now I think it's at a breaking point where everybody's got to kind of work together. And so I just wanted to make you aware of the situation in the town, that it's just, these taxes are out of control. They're double what they are in Smithfield. If you go to Smithfield Commons and you see a Panera Bread's there, packed every day, they're not coming to North Providence, and they never will. Now, on top of it, Mineral Spring Avenue is our main artery. Our properties aren't deep enough. They don't have enough square footage. They don't have enough parking. And it's just nothing that, we don't have anything here that a lot of national tenants will come to North Providence for. You have Dunkin' Donuts, you'll put 50 of them on Mill Spring Avenue. You may put another Taco Bell, you'll put a McDonald's, you'll put a Burger King. Those, the fast food restaurants, but nothing of any type of substance. And what we do is we have to try to bring in people who are, how should I say, like, you know, your average Joe, your average citizen to go into that building, and he's got to pay $17,000 a year in taxes. He's got to pay tangible taxes. He's got to pay rent. The electric is absolutely going through the roof. The numbers are staggering that you cannot even run a business anymore. And that is the climate. That is the true climate of the town. And if the town decides to put any committees together to sit down and really take a plan, I'd be willing to step up and head the committee, because I will be able to get things done, but depending on if I can get people to work together. But again, with the town, the way it's been run as a business, it would never work. It would have been bankrupt years ago. And now it's at a breaking point where you're drowning people and it's drowning businesses, and you just can't bring the national tenants in, but you can't even help the mom and pops get started. The numbers are just staggering. So basically that's all I have to say tonight. And thank you for the license, and hopefully there'll be some changes.
If you look on our website when we do have the Economic Development Committee meetings,
Okay.
what I'm hoping to do as the chairperson for that committee is look at the vacant spots. And I think once we're able to identify all the spots, try to fill the spots, put a plan together, it will alleviate the tax burden because there are so many vacant properties. I'd be more than happy to let you know when those committee meetings are.
I'd be willing to come.
If you'd like me to do that.
Sure, that'd be
And any input that you have, that was probably going to be my next step, to get business people's ideas, not just 7 of us up here with our ideas, it's the business people too. So I will reach out and let you know when that is.
All right.
Thank you.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Item number 10, Goldsmith Street abandonment petition. Town council continue this petition to abandon a portion of Goldsmith Street submitted by Country View Holding LLC from the February 3rd, 2015 meeting. After the petition was advertised on January 16th, 23rd, and 30th, 2015 for hearing at that date. The petition is being withdrawn by John McGreen, Esquire. Withdrawal letter enclosed. I'll read that into the record. Dear Ms. DeAngelis, please withdraw the planning and zoning application of proposed abandonment of the portion of Goldsmith Street. Thank you for your assistance with this matter. Very truly yours, Taft and McSally, LLP, John V. McGreen. So I'd like to entertain a motion to accept the letter and deny the abandonment.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made by Councilman Catanzaro, seconded by Councilman Warren. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Item number 11, 24-hour license. Town Council to consider the approval of a 24-hour license for Cumberland Farms Incorporated, DBA Cumberland Farms, located at 1933 Mineral Spring Avenue.
Good evening. My name's Rick Lauder. I'm the regional manager for Cumberland Farms, representing that location. And
Thank you for
we're
coming.
here just to ask your permission to, get that license so that we could go 24 hours.
Could you say your name again? I'm sorry.
Rick Lauder, Lauder.
Thank you.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Mr. Lauder?
How long has Cumberland Farms owned the existing location?
I don't know the exact date,
So
to be
it's-
honest with you.
it's
Probably
corporate
over,
owned?
it's probably somewhere close to 35 years, I bet.
It's corporate owned, it's not a franchisee?
It's every Cumberland Farms is corporate owned.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, what's the reason for the 24-hour license? You've been in existence for that period of time. You haven't been 24 hours.
Well, quite honestly, it's our business plan to change or acquire a 24-hour license for as many locations as we can. So we continue to reach out and try and expand it where we think it'll be feasible based on traffic counts, based on, population demographics. So, we've made a decision. We're probably moving, at least in my region anyway, which consists of northern Rhode Island and most of Massachusetts. I'm moving about 42 locations, hopefully this year, over to the 24-hour mark, which would bring us, I want to say, it'll bring us pretty close to a 55-45 ratio, where we'll be, over the 50% mark with 24-hour locations.
And then I've noticed that most Cumberland Farms are getting rehabbed to a different look. Is that something planned for this site?
It's not on this year's budget, but it certainly is going to happen. If you're familiar with the site, which I'm sure you are, we have an empty tenant location at the end of that. Because we don't have the depth in the property to build a brand-new building, which we've done in many locations. If any of you have been to Johnston, we did both of our Johnston locations over last year. But without the depth, we can't really fit that type of building on that property. So what we do is we will go in, we'll gut the inside of the building, rehab the outside to give it a new look, but certainly not change the footprint of the building, because we don't have the physical ability to do that there.
Okay.
But it'll probably happen. I want to say probably in the next 2 years is where we'll be looking to do that. It's definitely not on this year's fiscal budget, though.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Councilman?
On the application, it doesn't state how many days. I'm assuming it's 7 days a week.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it should say it on there. Yeah, 7 days a week, obviously.
Are you open holidays, sir?
Yes.
All holidays?
Yes. Christmas, we open at 8 o'clock. We shut down at midnight. That's the only time. If we're a 24-hour location, we'll close down at midnight the night before and then open up at 8 a.m. on Christmas morning.
Well, any other questions before I entertain a motion? I'd like to entertain a motion to grant the 24-hour license.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilman Warren, seconded by Councilman Faiola. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
6 in favor, 1 nay. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 12, 24-hour license. Town Council to consider the approval of a 24-hour license for YF Rhode Island LLC DBA UFit Health Clubs located at 1527 Smith Street.
Good evening.
How you doing?
I'm Daniel Gonger II. I'm general manager of 2 UFit Health Clubs locations, one down in Sarasota, Florida, and the one up here in North Providence, Rhode Island.
Could you just say your name one more time, please?
Yes, Daniel Gonger II.
Okay.
Yes.
When do you guys plan on opening?
We have an estimated opening date of April 17th as of right now. We had all the trucks come in today and actually drop off our main shipments of all the resistance equipment and the cardio equipment, as well as the free weight equipment. So we are on point as of right now to open up that facility on April 17th.
17th, yes. Well, in my opinion, I mean, it seems like gyms all over the state are moving towards the 24-hour license, and, I wouldn't want to put you guys at a disadvantage. So I'm in favor of it. Would anyone else like to?
Question, sir. There was a gym in Cranston that was not UFit, but another gym.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have any managerial personnel on duty. You just had a card. You swiped
Like a key
it, you
fob,
went in.
something like that, yes. All of our UFit Health Clubs locations that do open up 24 hours are manned at all times. There will be a front desk employee there, all 24 hours.
So you will have a manager on? That's what,
We will have we will have a manager or a manager in training, so an MIT is what we refer to them as, on at all times.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know if the question was asked.
Yes.
Defibrillators. Do you have them in?
Yes, we'll have AEDs inside of our facilities, yeah. All UFit Health Clubs have AEDs inside the facilities.
Dino, if I may.
Councilman, yeah.
What's the percentage of individuals who use the facility, say from 12 o'clock midnight on?
So throughout the night. Now, as far as those numbers go, I'm not exactly sure. Being the general manager, I don't really look into those statistics or what demographic of people utilize the facility at those times. But we are aiming, since the parking is a little bit slim at that location, giving the 24 hours will allow, any police officers, any firefighters who are off duty to allow them to work out, whenever they please. Any bartenders or, anybody who does work into the night, hopefully it gives them the opportunity to utilize the facilities, during the midnight to about 5 a.m. hours as well.
The other facilities you have, are they 24 hours?
The other one that I do have is not 24 hours. The hours that we do run that location is Monday through Thursday, 5 a.m. to midnight, Friday, 5 a.m. to 10 p.m., and the weekends, 8 to 8.
This will be your first one?
This will be my first 24-hour location, yes.
And this is just Monday through Thursday, correct?
We open up Monday 5 a.m. We are a 24-hour facility throughout the week until Friday. We close at 10 p.m. And then the weekends we are open from 8 to 8, just as normal.
Thank you.
Where is that other location?
So what's that?
Where is the other location that you have?
The other location is down in Sarasota, Florida.
I see.
Any other questions?
I think if we're looking at these 24-hour applications, and I should have said it with Cumberland Farms, because it's something new for the town, there's only a few locations. If there's any trouble for some reason with them, we would call you back in if it does get approved by this council.
Okay.
If it's a late night hangout or just trouble.
Right.
I'm in favor of it, but
It can be
it's-
approved and it can also be revoked.
right.
Okay.
So, just in my opinion, and I meant to say that with Cumberland Farms too, but just so I get that on the record.
Okay. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve this license.
So moved.
Do I have a
Second.
second? Motion's been made by Councilman Warren, seconded by Councilwoman Catanzaro. All those in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Good luck.
Thank you.
Nay. Nay.
One nay, excuse me. Excuse me, my wife's locked out of the house, so I have to give her the key. Give me 1 second.
Have a good night. That was
Item number
classic.
14, drainage issues in the Grove Street area. Mr. John O'Connell and Mr. Gerald Russell. Request to appear concerning the drainage issues in the area of Grove Street.
Good evening. My name is John O'Connell. The problem starts at Country Parkway. It's at the bottom of Country Parkway. It's at 12 Country Parkway. It runs through my neighbor's property, Mr. Russell, at 16 Grove Avenue, and it runs through my property at 19 Grove Avenue. The pipe itself is clogged completely. It hasn't been cleaned since I've lived at 19 Grove Avenue, and that's been 17 years now. It's starting. My neighbor's driveway is settling. My driveway's been settling. There's material that's coming up from my driveway. I had contacted Councilwoman Catanzaro last year, emailing her back and forth. The acting DPW director, Mr. Bernie Salvatore, was at my house as well, looking at the area where it happened, and he looked at it. He said, "Hopefully we can fix this." And I've been keeping in touch with Councilwoman Catanzaro about it, and I'm just here tonight to hopefully get the drain pipe cleaned, so I can have my driveway ripped up and I can have it paved. Thank you.
Gerald Russell. I live at 16 Grove Avenue, and this past December, there was a dumpster put on Country Parkway, and I believe 12 Country Parkway is owned by the bank or the town, I'm not sure. And the dumpster, there was debris that was supposed to be put in the dumpster, and it was not put in the dumpster. John took pictures, I don't know if you have the pictures or not, and it's just a complete mess up there at 12 Country Parkway. There's a tree down in the yard. The tree took down my fence, part of my fence, and another neighbor's fence. and we just want to get it taken care of.
Anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
I just, oh, I'm
No,
sorry.
Go ahead. Councilman Brady, you can go.
I just wanted to ask if you had been in touch with the building inspector to go out and look at the
No, I
dumpster.
haven't. I'm not even sure who owns the property. That's
But
my...
they would find out for you and address it and cite them if needed, if it was necessary.
I was going to say minimum housing.
Minimum housing.
Mr. President?
Go ahead.
The issue with Grove, Bernie Salvatore did say it would be fixed, and it hasn't been fixed, and that's why Mr. O'Connell is here. He was promised it would be fixed in a couple of weeks, and that was back in September. So as far as the cleaning of the pipes, which is another issue, and whether or not there was an easement through that property, and it was the town's drain pipe, I know was another issue. So I'd like to entertain a motion to send a letter to the administration and CC the acting DPW director to go over and assess that area again, and clean that pipe that they're speaking about, and to get back to the council with their findings so we can expedite this, seeing as it was promised that it would be fixed back in February.
I'll second that motion.
Instead of saying that we want an assessment again, why not just say we got to clean that pipe, get that pipe cleaned?
Well, the assessment on his property, he's asking for his driveway to be fixed.
Well, no, if it can't be fixed, I'm just looking to see if we can at least
Get that
streamline
pipe
it.
clean.
I think if, once the pipe is cleaned, if the driveway can't be fixed by the town, then I would have to do it myself and have it fixed.
Okay, so you're actually just looking for the pipe,
pipe,
not
yeah.
for the driveway too?
The pipe goes right through under the driveway, correct?
All right, so I'll make the motion to send it to the administration and the DPW director to put that on a regularly scheduled cleaning
Right.
of that pipe.
Second.
And we can
That way
assess
there,
it
that
once
way there,
then.
we don't waste another month with another assessment.
On Grove Avenue. But I believe it starts at Country Parkway.
Parkway,
Yeah.
the drain is there, and then the pipe goes through
16 Grove.
16 Grove Avenue, right through 19 Grove.
How did the pipe, how was it even constructed to go under your driveway?
You know, Stephen, when I bought the house 17 years ago, there was, half of the driveway was new, and the other half was old. I never thought back then, I thought it was just, you just fixed his driveway, not knowing there was a pipe underneath the driveway all this time. My neighbor had told me this was, he didn't know exactly who did it, but the pipe was there. And that was back, we could be going back 60s,
70s,
70s,
early 70s.
and I just didn't know. And if I knew back then there was a pipe under there, maybe I would have not bought the house or had the previous owner have it fixed before I bought it. So I didn't know at all what was under my driveway.
Okay, so a motion's been made by Councilwoman Catanzaro, seconded by Councilwoman Brady. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. And I'd like you to follow up with us in the next few weeks, because, you know...
I have a
And how about a
question,
second
Mr.
motion?
Go ahead.
Yeah, for
I was-
minimum housing?
For minimum housing.
For, so I'll make that motion for minimum, to send a letter to minimum housing to 12 Country Parkway.
Second.
Councilwoman Catanzaro's motion has been seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Can I just cut the tree up so I can put my fence back up? That's my...
There's a tree on your property?
Pardon?
You can cut anything that's on your property.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll take care of it. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Item number 15, Tree People, LLC, DBA Lucky Garden Restaurant. Discussion and possible vote with regard to delivering a summons to the registered agent of Tree People, LLC, DBA Lucky Garden Chinese Restaurant to possibly cancel the BV liquor license for not satisfying the renewal requirements by December 1st, 2014. How you doing?
My name is Mark Bubin. I represent Charlie Ng we were before the council in November of last year, seeking the council's approval of the transfer of ownership of the license by Trepo, owned by Trepo at 1852 Smith Street. That license was going to be part of a business acquisition for the assets of Trepo, which was at the time operating the Lucky Garden Chinese restaurant. Apparently, financial difficulties prevented Trepo from the ability to renew their liquor license to the satisfaction of the town, based upon, I believe, difficulties with the Division of Taxation. The business shut down in December, and in the beginning of January there was a frozen pipe issue because of a lack of heat in the establishment, and that caused considerable damage to the interior of the Lucky Garden, which again at the time was not being operated. My client is desirous of entering into a new lease agreement with the owners of the property, Campo Piano Trust, and the concern that my client has is the availability of a BV license in the event we do come before the board perhaps next month seeking the same. And I wrote a letter outlining the somewhat jagged history of my client's involvement with this particular location.
So,
What are you looking for?
He's looking for us to do the same thing we just did for the ice house, because they've been affected.
My client would
You
be...
want us to cancel the previous liquor license?
Well, it's my understanding that the license was not renewed in December. The licenses come up for renewal in November, and the effective starting date is December 1.
Yeah.
And I believe this particular license was not renewed on December 1. My client would be seeking to apply for a license at that address.
Now, is that-
We
what are you
anticipate
looking-
filing an application within the next week with the hope of getting on the docket in May.
so what we'll have to do is we'll have to have the people from Treple.
No.
Yes, they have to be summoned in first.
We gotta summons them in?
Yeah.
If they didn't renew the license, they didn't have a license.
We normally summons them, and we don't just let it go. We summons them.
So I'm gonna entertain a motion to issue a summons to Treple LLC DBA Lucky Garden Restaurant to appear before the council at the May meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion been made by Councilman Brady, seconded by Councilman Catanzaro. All those in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Members, may I inquire as to whether there is the availability of a license?
Yes.
Assuming it's not this particular license, is there another license available?
Yes, we do.
You can still apply for it.
We intend to apply. They've incurred my clients incurred the expense in November of going through the advertising. Now we would do the same with radius maps, et cetera. We just want to make sure we're going down the correct path.
The issue is that they're gonna, if the person doesn't show up in May, which is probably not gonna happen, but they're gonna cancel it. If you wanna apply for it now, and your client is willing to take, we'll say the risk, of paying for the advertising and paying to have the radius map done and the notices mailed out. And what the council has done historically is that we could put your application on next month's agenda after the cancellation item. So not to hold you up another month to June. As long as your client's willing to spend whatever the clerk says the advertising is and notices are. As long as your client's willing to spend that money with a small risk that somebody comes in next month, which I think is minimal, then we can address your issues next month, not June. All right, please work that out with the town clerk.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you.
Item number 16, ordinance introduction. Introduction of an amended ordinance establishing Article V of Chapter 32 of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of North Providence to be entitled Establishment of a Tax Exemption and Tax Stabilization Agreement for the property located at 200 High Service Avenue, North Providence, Rhode Island, a.k.a. Our Lady of Fatima Hospital, and vote for a public hearing on May 5th, 2015, on the May 5th, 2015 Town Council meeting. This item has to do with the tax stabilization plan we put together with Fatima Hospital last year. Was it one? One property was not included in that. So we'll have to refer this to ordinance to correct that. So I'll entertain a motion to refer this item to ordinance and advertise for a public hearing next month.
So move. Second.
Motion's been moved by Councilwoman Brady, seconded by Councilwoman Catanzaro. All those in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Item number 17, video equipment and cameras in the town parks. Councilman DeStefanis requests discussion and vote on placing video equipment and cameras in public parks throughout the town. Councilman DeStefanis?
Thank you, Mr. President. This measure that I'm putting forth is not a Big Brother situation, so I just want to make that clear. I'm not looking to monitor the parks on a consistent daily basis. I'm just trying to think forward that our parks are in need of repair, so we're going to be spending some money over the next couple of years repairing these parks to just leave them wide open again. So the theory behind this is to install parks on the lighting system, install cameras on the lighting system. The cameras would be tied to the police department's dispatcher, who would have the monitors in front of them. At nighttime, when the parks are closed, there would be a sensor attached to the camera. Any activity within the park, the sensor would trigger the camera to turn on, and the video surveillance at the police department would click on. I don't think that we can continue to ask our police department to constantly drive through these parks on a continual basis every night.
Ray, since this is a law enforcement issue, couldn't we possibly use the Google money for this?
Well, I have all intentions of using the Google money. I just hadn't gotten there yet.
Oh, okay.
I believe the chief had, the previous chief and the current chief mentioned he wanted to do this.
Correct.
Also with trouble spots throughout town.
Correct. And Ralph's here from Communications. They started to do it at Meehan. There's a plan to somewhat do this at Meehan, and I just want to expand that plan throughout all our parks.
That's a good idea.
Well, we had that problem, a real big problem at Evans Fields, where DPW was going out every weekend and they were taking off graffiti, and so we did propose this some time ago, and I think that's why it's probably in your plan. Ralph, is that?
Right, we do have a plan, and we spoke, Councilman DeStefanis, in detail. The problem we have is coming up for some of these parks is coming up with what the cost will be of what we actually want to record. So I have done a little research since we spoke, trying to find out what other community is actually doing this. And unfortunately, we can't find none right now, but primarily it's because of funding. We're looking at about, a lot of the parks have no power. Stephen Only Park has no power in the park except down at the concession stand. So in order to get cameras there, we need to power them. We need either solar power and battery power them, the maintenance cost and everything on those. We're looking at about, exclude just the camera, the pole and everything, we're looking at about $4,000 per camera. So as much as many communities want it, there's simply reason they don't have it is because of funding.
Any estimate, you Stephen Only, any estimate how many cameras would be needed over there?
No, we're going to do a walkthrough when the weather gets better to find out exactly what they want recorded, what they want viewed and recorded. One of the other things is, and we talked about, we don't want to be Big Brother, and that's true. but that's what a lot of municipalities are also faced with, is that they're concerned about the legal guidelines, about the ACLU and stuff, what their concerns are about what's being recorded. Traditionally, publicly owned, so municipal-owned parking lots are normally nothing in question. Buildings town buildings that are known to problem vandalism, so that's why Naughty Park is gonna have the cameras on Camp Meehan, but as well as on the concession stand and bathrooms, because there's been numerous complaints of inappropriate sexual activity there, vandalism, theft. They've destroyed those bathrooms about 3 times a year. So that's kind of why the camera, and that's gonna be at a minimum cost, because we already have the system in place at Camp Meehan. So there is a couple of things we need to look at, and it's the logistics that are more difficult with the financing. Right now, we're gonna be moving all the school cameras over to the police department. We're gonna be adding over 150 cameras to their system within the next few months. So there really is no room in the dispatch center to add a lot of that stuff right now, but we're kind of taking that all into place for the new facility, and a new public safety facility that we can accommodate all that kind of technology. So we understand the aspect of it, and we certainly will look into doing that, and I know the police department and the colonel does support it, as he supported the others. The question is who decides what park we do first? We certainly can't do them all at once, and that's something you guys will have to come up with the assistance from the colonel, I would assume. And funding, yeah, you guys would have to work that out with him as well, but we have done some initial preliminary numbers for that stuff. The biggest thing is connectivity, too. The Google money may be able to afford installation of this stuff, but the maintenance and connectivity, they probably will not pay for, because they don't pay for anything else we have now, like the police cars or the radio equipment that they've purchased. It's all on the town's dime. So we have to look at those logistics. So we might want 15 cameras in Stephen-only Park, but it'll have to be decided that we can only afford so many when it comes to the maintenance. And
My biggest concern is the assets. So the playground equipment, that's getting damaged and vandalized. The loitering that's in the parks, I got many complaints from residents who live next to the parks in my district who call and state that, they have individuals in the parks at night, and, so it's more of that aspect. I don't really foresee, placing an immense amount of cameras in every park. I just in certain areas within those parks that kind of hinder the parking, take a bird's eye view of the parking lot and maybe the assets that are within that
I think it's definitely doable, and the mayor, I've spoken with the mayor, and he said give whatever support you guys need and assistance you guys need into figuring out what that's going to take to get
We're all in favor of it, because we don't want a situation like Smithfield had a couple of years ago, is they had beautiful soccer fields up there, and kids went up there with ATVs and destroyed them and destroyed the nets, caused thousands of dollars worth of damage, where if they had cameras, it would have prevented it. As far as the ACLU goes, I don't think there would be any challenge, because you don't have an expectation of privacy when you're out in public.
Right.
It's not like we're putting a camera on your home. If you're out in public, you're out in public. That's why you have all the cameras down the city of Providence and on the highways. No expectation of privacy, so I think we wouldn't have a challenge there either.
All right. And the other thing is, we've had this discussion with the school safety committee numerous times. The dispatch is there, but the dispatcher is there as a other function other than monitoring cameras. Like they said, we're going to be adding these 160 cameras. They monitor the cameras here at the town hall, but they're not there to prevent. It's not really going to prevent. No camera's going to prevent an incident. What it's going to do is it's going to help investigate the incident later, or when somebody calls and there's a person at the tax collection window causing a problem, the dispatcher can then go to it and turn it on. But unfortunately, we just can't have the expectation that somebody's actually watching those cameras all the time.
My aspect is to be proactive, so when we do start reinvesting in our park system, we could have some comfort, maybe that's 10%, but we could have some comfort that the assets that we're putting in those parks are somewhat protected.
And especially the visualization of cameras. Like I said, there's only 5. People see there's cameras in there, maybe they'll do some less damage to it. So the town is in support of that option.
Any other questions? Councilman, would you suggest referring this to the Public Safety Committee while we wait to gather some more information? So I'll entertain that motion.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilman Juicy, seconded by Councilman Stephanus. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Public safety,
Yep. Hey, Dino, while Ralph's here, can we do number 20?
yeah. Item number 20, Town Website. Councilman DeStephanus requests discussion and vote on upgrading the town's website to be more interactive and informative while also ensuring that all departments are utilizing any and all technology available. Councilman?
So, the theory, the thought process behind this is, our website, thank you so much for what you do on a daily basis. I'm just looking to kind of bring the website a little bit more forward, a little bit more interactive. Maybe we could tie a mobile application to it. Maybe we could use it more as a notification system to what's going on in the town to our residents. Add in sections within the website that allow individuals to report potholes, street lights being out. Maybe they can.
We have that now. That went into place last week. Just about a little over. We've been working on that for about 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
For that they can report stuff. The concern that the town side has is that we see it on a weekly basis on our Twitter and Facebook account. We're concerned about what's reported to us. A lot of it is nuisance. A lot of it is derogatory comments. We get. I have to go on the website. Onto the Facebook account at least weekly and remove any vulgarity dedicated to specific people. People are just harsh out there. They have a right to vent their opinion, and I guess that's where they choose to do it. But we're kind of concerned about what avenues we give. There's only certain things they can report. The other is it's not monitored 24 hours a day, so if they report something that's urgent in nature, we just don't want that to happen. One of the things is the complaint forms for the building department, for people we have on there where you can report somebody building without a permit, but somebody complaining about a neighbor, we tried that a few years ago on the website, and it was just inundated. I probably 2-3 dozen a week, and not one of them was a valid complaint. So the building official said, no, you need to come here. They're not even allowed to do it on the phone. They need to go in and fill an actual complaint out. So the website...
Well, not to stop you, but that's my reasoning for wanting to update the site. I think when you move around this town, especially with certain departments, everyone's paper-driven. So there's a lot of data that goes onto that paper, such as potholes, let's say, where they keep a log, they repair it. That's valuable data. That data could help you when you go to plan street repavement program. Where should I be investing my dollars because I'm continually repairing potholes and placing asphalt down? So I don't see that. So what I'm hoping is we can update our website and start filtering that data through that website and hopefully start forcing some of these departments to come up out of the paper and pen age and into, the electronics age.
Wouldn't that be more in the GIS program?
Well, the GIS is involved in that data entry with things. Matter of fact, she was in assistance with us to get some changes to the website. Her massive project right now is the school bus safety of the students. Right now, the bus company that we use, they didn't even have a computer. We had to install a computer in their facility. They do everything by push pins. So she is, I have her dedicated to them in the school department now that we've merged our technology departments. That's one of the things we're doing is using her to create using technology to create the bus routes, to create, we've actually already realized we could probably cut out 2 or 3 buses already, and we're not even done with what we're doing, so a lot of that will work. Unfortunately, on the technology side, a lot of stuff, it's occurring. You don't see it in the foreground, but it is occurring in the background. But I do agree with you that we need to use more. We actually have a lot more technology. Our problem is sometimes is the manpower to actually run it. We've just brought our automotive division online with an existing system that we have to do auto repairs through a program. The problem is the work orders are being generated to them, but they can't complete their end of it because during the snow it was just nearly impossible. The automotive division was just buried with work to do during the snow. So I could see where we do need to get a better handle on getting people to use it. It's just the time and management to get them to
And again, I thank you for everything you've done. I mean, I've seen, what you came into, where you brought it, so I thank you
And we're
for
here
what
to-
you're doing every
My
day.
suggestion for the website is maybe I hate to use committees to have another committee for something, but maybe have some type of interaction as a group of people to be involved with what they want to see. Even if we put a survey on the website, I thought of that maybe put a survey on the website for visitors who go there to fill out a form to say, what do you want to see different? I know the building officials is the major one. Everything in our building official is done by paper. We're one of the only few left that do that. We are working on that. We originally I came to the council last year. We replaced the vision system, Opal Vision, for the collections and assessors, and I requested the additional money to put on the building official plan. The change in that this year is the state is doing something themselves called e-permitting, and we are now one of the 10 test pilots to become that. So nobody will have to come to the building official's office to request a building permit. They'll be able to do it all online. They'll be able to pay for it online. They'll be able to get their permit online. They won't have to come in at all unless they're requested. There's going to be kiosks. We're going to have 3 kiosks set up, so those who do come in can actually request their report right there, because our biggest problem is, and with everything by hand, you can't read half the people's writing. So when we're trying to process on the town's end, trying to process their applications and input data, half the things aren't spelled correctly or anything like that. So that is going to save us about $42,000 because we became a pilot program. We're still about 6 or 8 months away from that, so that's going to happen as well.
How about DPW, Ralph, as far as a resident calling in services, like the gentleman that was just here, if he called in and he said, we need to have the drain cleaned. Those are all services that have to be done by the phone. Does the DPW have any way of taking a call log via email, so it does have a time, a date, so people know when it came in, and it just didn't get written down and someone loses it? Like, is that something that can...
There is items on the website that you can request, such as pothole. I believe if you go to the town website, which I don't have right up, but if you go there, there's pothole, street signs missing or damaged. There's probably a list of about 6 or 7 items that can report, and if you report it by email, obviously then you do get the documentation that the email occurred with a date and time stamp.
Are the drain things on there? That was my main, I didn't see the
There
drain
is something
things.
for a clogged drain, but it's not, we try to make sure they understand that it's not their sewer drain clogged, because
Right.
it's not monitored 24 hours a day, and it says that they need to report that by phone.
Okay.
It's, another hard part is, sometimes we have people that the technology's there, it's very difficult for a different generation of people to kind of understand that how to use that, and it's kind of hard to sit with someone and just teach them how to use that technology. We don't have that manpower to do sometimes.
So, back to what Councilwoman Catanzaro had stated originally. When someone calls into DPW, do they have software where they're literally entering that call in to say, are they
If they go
utilizing
through there
it?
or call by phone, they do not do it by, they do it by paper. We do have a system that would work for them, but the problem is we can just offer the technology up. It would be required of them to use that technology. And I know they've requested it, but then especially now, they're into the pothole fixing, they're into all the repairs from the storm damage, so we can forget dealing with that with them this month. So maybe the summertime with things, because then they gotta do street sweeping and stuff like that. So it always gets brought up, but then somehow or another, because of its activity, I know this month I did reach out to Bernie Salvatore about it, and he said, all right, but I gotta get my pots ready, we're behind here, behind there, so.
And then if we did in fact create a notification-based site, mobile app linked, where our schools are using it, DPW is using it, for any sort of purpose, what would that cost?
Well, the only one we know that really does it, that has a mobile app designed for the city itself is Providence. I spoke to them after we talked a couple weeks ago, and They're spending about $65,000 for that app, and they said just about no one uses it in the city. It's not.
65,000 total to build the app and you utilize it?
Build the app and utilize it was about $65,000 is what they paid. Now, it's completely tailored to the city, so maybe we don't need one specifically tailored to North Providence. I'm sure there's many out there. We've met with numerous agencies that try to sell that stuff to us, and it's just we see the value of it, the benefit of it. We can't, at least on my end, what I have in my budget, I can't justify to spend for that unless I get the funding for it later.
You have a question?
Just one. On the website, if I go on and post something, do I have to, as some government websites, if I put in a fake email, it says you got to put in a valid email so they can trace it back to me. Is the website like that?
No, you could basically put any email you want because it has no way to verify somebody's email address where it's
Couldn't you do that? That would cut down all the derogatory.
The amount of money that would cost, it's not, I don't see where that would be worth doing. That's a big, it has to get funneled, you have to pay a fee for that, so like the federal government pays a fee for that, and we would have to, it's almost like a private service that you pay. Have you ever heard of the coal book or the coal directory? It kind of does the same thing, it funnels it through a directory that some private company has, and to verify that those exist, so that would be outrageous.
Why don't we set up a meeting, Councilman, between yourself, Ralph, the administration, and whoever on this council.
Would you like to be part of that?
If I'm invited, I would love to be. And, we can, because I've heard a lot of good ideas, and I'd like to, see how we can move forward with these.
And maybe then we can come up with some type of, like I said, a committee to see what people want on the website and everything like that. We're always open to that.
You want to continue this, or?
Yeah, sure.
All right, I'll make a motion to continue this to next month. And, well, actually, before that, we'll set up we'll be in contact to set up a meeting, and we'll go from there.
All right. I have some things here. I did a couple of website analysis between other communities of what we offer and what's on some of the other pages. And of course, you do see some of these, like the city of Cranston, they do offer some nice benefit things that they don't offer. It's 2 pages.
So I made a motion to continue this item till next month.
So moved.
So second. Motion been made by Councilman Brady, seconded by Councilman Warren. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Number 18, Projo Express. Councilman DeStefanis requests discussion and vote on restrictions on Projo Express delivery to residents.
Mr. President, I'm not looking to bar the Providence Journal from using its advertisement mechanism to solicit new business. What I'm asking is that when they send someone the Projo Express, essentially they're just throwing it out the car window onto the driveway. And as we drive around our neighborhoods, we can tell which individuals don't want it and don't pick it up. And then all of a sudden that newspaper, soggy and wet after multiple weeks sitting on the street, ends up on the street. So my request tonight is to essentially ask the Providence Journal if they could possibly place the Projo Express at the individual's front door or on their garage door and not just throw it out the window of the delivery individual onto the driveway, because in my opinion it's littering. It just looks like littering when the individual doesn't pick the paper up or kicks it into the street. And I'm sure we've all experienced it. I'm sure we've all gotten individuals who've called on it.
So I think we should send a communication to the Journal and see what their delivery policy is and notify them of the complaints we've received and ask for this and, ask them to report back to us next month. Does that sound good?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Councilman Juicy, seconded by Councilman Warren. All those in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Item number 19, speed hump. Councilman DeStefanis requests discussion and vote on placing a speed hump on Ivan Street adjacent to KFC Little League Field. Councilman DeStefanis.
Mr. President, I'm doing this for a few reasons. At the bottom of Ivan Street is, intersects with Only Avenue. And to the left of that is KFC Field, to which 250 Little Leaguers use the field for the next 6 months, 5 months actually. And they use the field every single day. And when I campaigned over the summer, individuals on Ivan Street had complained not only about the speeding down the hill, but also speeding in both directions. So the fear has been, and we've, the North Providence Little League East has been in contact with the police department almost every game to request a police presence. And the league and also residents are now asking that we place a mechanism in to stop the speeding. And to me, it's a public safety issue. And I don't personally agree with speed bumps. I believe in speed humps. I think bumps cause more of a problem because the bolts start to loosen. When you go over them, they start to get louder and louder. So I'm requesting that we place a speed hump on Ivan Street, the section of Ivan Street that intersects with Only Avenue.
I think what we have to do is get a petition. Maybe about 6 or 8 months ago, Councilman Warren had talked about humps and bumps and things like that. And what we put in our ordinance was that the neighborhood had to agree, because one neighbor would want it, one neighbor didn't want it. It was something in Council District 3, we had that issue. So I believe if you could take a look at the ordinance, but you have to get a petition from the whole neighborhood in order to put that in.
One of the best examples of that is Wainscott Lane.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Absolutely.
You go down Wainscott Lane and you talk to most of the people on there, they want to kill
I know,
the
but
person that came up with the
I grew
bumps.
up on Wainscott Lane.
Yeah,
So
but-
I watched everything this town has done in the last 20 years to resolve that issue. And as an individual who grew up off of Wainscott Lane, I personally didn't like going over those humps, but you could literally walk down the street and not worry about people blowing stop signs. So
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, but like Councilwoman Catanzaro was saying, I just had a woman at Representative O'Brien's sign come up to me who lives on that street.
Oh, yeah.
And was complaining about the one you introduced me to.
Yep.
Was complaining about the humps on
Yep.
the street. And that's like years later.
So my fear is, we have 250 Little Leaguers who play there, and every summer the league begs the police department to have a presence. So I don't mind sending a letter to every resident that lives on Ivan Street to ask them to sign a petition for a speed bump or a hump. I just think it delays the aspect. I mean, we do have the Little League opening in less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, but that's what you have to do because it's per ordinance, it's per law that we created that. So, maybe sending out or just even walking the street with the petition.
Right, and there are other
Yeah.
warrants within the ordinance as well.
Yep.
That do need to be followed.
So just out of curiosity, so the town owns 16 speed bumps, is it?
No,
Whatever the number is.
3 or 4 left.
So wherever they're placed this summer, essentially before they place those, and a petition has to be
No.
put in place.
Not for those. You said you were against the ones with the screwed in.
So you can screw anything into the ground without asking the resident for approval, but you can't put a hump in.
So did I.
I thought it was for both.
I thought it was for
It is
both.
for both.
No,
The
it's
ordinance says for both.
No, I think it's one. I think it's the cement. And you have to pull the
The
cement.
ordinance, I believe that I showed you was for both speed bumps and speed humps.
Right.
All I know is we ran into a lot of problems on Wainscott Lane. A lot of problems. I mean, a lot of people very upset still on Wainscott Lane.
Yeah, but Wainscott Lane is, in my opinion, again, I'm new to this council, really isn't a good example because there are multiple other bumps within the town. There's 2 on Volturno Street. I've never heard of someone on Volturno Street complaining. When I walked the district, nobody said, hey, I hate that bump, can you get rid of it?
But walk Wainscott Lane, you'll hear it. What I would
does apply to
suggest to you, is see if the mayor was willing to buy, because the speed bumps we got are absolutely ridiculous. They wouldn't slow anything down. See if you want to purchase a special, bump that's actually a speed bump, and see if they can put that in right away.
When's the opening day?
Was slated for April 17th, I believe. If that's a Saturday, it's now slated for the 25th.
All right, so let's take a look at the ordinance, and from now until then, and, you know, we got a few special meetings, obviously, with the budget, so we can throw this on.
Yeah,
to try and get this.
Okay. So then can we continue it?
Unless you want them, you know, unless we send a letter to buy a
Well, he can just, in the meantime, take action, get the signatures, see that the warrants to fulfill the terms of the ordinance.
okay. You want to make the motion?
I make a motion to continue this to the May agenda.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilman DeStefano, seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Item number 21, Old Town Hall Meeting. Councilman DeStefano requests discussion and vote to hold a council meeting once a year at the Old Town Hall. Councilman DeStefano?
This is just, we have a building down the street that this town started in, and I just feel that we should spend one meeting a year there and invite the residents in to see it.
Is it will it pass code?
I'm being told it will, but we can add that to the motion, that pending that it's safe for the public to enter. But I'm being told that it was
Safe.
It was safe. It was recently renovated years back, and
Is it?
don't hold me to this, but I thought they told me that they bring tours through it. So I just kind of feel like,
I mean, I like the idea. The only issue I see, there's no parking. I think our slow months are in the summer.
but this council used to do that years back.
Yeah, 18, what?
No.
We used to do it before the bypass.
So you just said that Manny's been on the
We
council
used to
since
do
the
it before the
1800s.
bypass,
That's nuts.
when Drayton School was open, and we used to park in a lot over there.
Does it have air conditioning?
I was gonna say, can we wear our
No,
bathing
it's-
suits?
So we can
There's
do
no
it in the
air.
winter.
Man,
I think it's a great idea. I think it's
Thank you,
it's,
Councilwoman. I appreciate it.
If, as long as provided that the building passes inspection and is up to code, but the other concern is we wouldn't be able to stream the meeting, so we'd have to put a public announcement if we moved a meeting to that location, that we would only have an audio tape available.
And the school department has a stenographer, don't they? That's how they run their meetings, so we could easily hire that individual or someone else.
I think we have,
We could video it, it just wouldn't be live. We can video it, we can post it ourselves on the radio server the next month.
okay, thank you.
See, thanks, Ralph.
Glad you're here.
Well, why don't we make sure that it's up to standards of having
She's
humans
worried.
in the building? You know, maybe there could be little mice in there or something.
Check with the building inspector.
Like, let's
and
just
if
check
it's
it
safe.
out first. I'm not opposed to it at all.
I'm not opposed.
It has to be accessible for people to be in it, because I have a class trip at my son's school, and I was told that they went, you know, Stephen only in previous years has gone there. So it has to be, I would hope that the building passes code if we're walking school children through it.
All right, so you want to make the motion provided
Go up here.
the building is safe?
Contact the fire marshal, because they may consider that be a place of assembly, which would then
Right.
change the code.
numbers.
So it might be okay to bring people in and out, but if it's a place to meet and assemble, the fire marshal would probably, I'm sure he would guarantee have the answer for you, and whether or not they can grant a permission, whether or not, you know, there has to be a detail there, or whatever like that. Captain Warren would be able to answer that for you.
I'll make a motion to send a letter to the fire marshal
The building inspector also?
and the building inspector to request if it's safe for assembly.
Another issue too is handicap accessible.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
No elevator.
Hey, this is getting like...
Yeah.
Good idea.
Motion's been made by Councilman Juicy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Letter to Marshall and.
Marshall and Bill Inspector.
Bill Inspector.
Seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
We could have a trolley from here to there.
And if we do this, we'll do it in like, I don't know, December, so that way it's not 100 degrees inside a non-air-conditioned building for you.
If it's not feasible, I think we should take a tour.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah.
Does
I don't know.
anyone know if it's ADA accessible, that building?
Item number 22, job descriptions. Councilman DeStefanis requests discussion and vote to update existing job descriptions for all town employees.
Mr. President, my request with this is, after looking at the job descriptions booklet, I don't know, I think it's called a personnel supplement, I may be wrong, but it's a listing of all the job descriptions and titles within the town, and where those titles and job descriptions fall into each department or division within the town. The book hasn't been updated since 1994. So just the sheer fact that technology has changed from 94 to now, departments and divisions, again, I'd have to research this, may not exist, or we might have had added stuff since 1994. I think we really need to consider updating the job descriptions.
Councilman, I have a question for you. Do you know if this is a collective bargaining issue?
I don't. I'm sure the administration, as they're looking at updating it, could work with the unions that represent the interests within the town. Again, I'm not looking to hurt anyone. I'm just trying to bring the supplement up to date.
To 2015.
Correct.
Any questions?
Well, you have to remember, too, that you can't, change a job description while someone is holding the job. So you'd have to do it when a position becomes available, before a position is either appointed or you hire a person for that position. When the job is posted, you would have to make sure that the job description is updated at that time. I mean, if you were hired to be, in charge of locking the doors, and that's all you did was lock the doors, and then before you knew it, you were, having to open the building, close the building, clean the floors, paint, you'd say, hey, I only got hired to lock the doors. So we need to make sure that any of the job descriptions that you're looking to change are jobs that someone has left through attrition. And, if they're going to repost those jobs, then you would update it at that time. I mean, we went through this similar situation just a month or two ago, wanting to update a position, and it was basically to update a job description because the times have changed. And we realized technology has to be in there and different computer systems. So you just have to be careful that you're not updating jobs that people are in. Then it causes grievances, money, it's expensive.
Again, I'm not looking to hurt anyone who's in any current position. I'm just saying that there is a booklet. The booklet lists jobs. The last time it was looked at and updated was 1994. So at some particular point in time, we've updated that book. So there was a means and a mechanism then to update the book. Then there needs to be a means and a mechanism now to bring that book from 94 to 2014 or 15 or 16 or wherever you want to bring it.
Right. Yeah, send a letter to the administration and tell them that you want to do it, We don't really have a human resource department to look into that. I mean, the chief is the human resource director, so.
So we would have to rely on them to make sure that it's updated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's an administrative duty.
Plus, you don't know, like President Ardiello said, you don't know how many of those are listed in the contracts.
Yep.
Descriptions.
So maybe we should send a letter to the administration?
And if they wish to pursue it, then they can contact the respective unions. to work with them.
This? This one, the mayor. That's one the mayor. Yeah.
I can
Okay, so what's the,
I'm not taking it, so do you want mine?
what's the pleasure of the...
Again, I'm not doing this to make anyone who works for the town's life difficult. I'm just saying that there is a supplement, and it's from 1994.
I'll make a motion to send a letter to the administration advising them to
And I'll second it.
look at that supplement, that book, whatever you want to call it, and talk to them about updating the job description.
Motion's been made by Councilman Juicy, seconded by Councilman Fiola. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Number 23, Azad Court. Councilwoman Catanzaro and Councilman Warren request discussion and vote on paving and bond for Azad Court.
Thank you, Mr. President. This item has been on the agenda a few times, and the issue was the contractor had not finished the paving on the road. So we had discussed this with the administration, and there was a bond that was still out there that needed to be signed off. So I had spoken with Chief Forza, and I found out that the bond, the improvement guarantee, was in the form of cash, and we had discussed that. And it's our understanding that the town solicitor is in the process of getting an agreement from the developer and the town to utilize the money to pave the street. Also, I believe that once the street is paved, that they have to come back to the council for us to vote on that street to be signed off on, like accepted as a road. And I did get an email today from Brenda. She's one of the residents on Azad, and she thanked all of us for putting this on the agenda because the mayor actually went to her house when he saw it on the agenda, and he said that it would be paved within 2 weeks. So hopefully the spring is here, and we won't have this on the agenda again, and it'll be done within the 2 weeks.
It is
So-
paved, Councilwoman, it is paved. I don't know if it's just the preliminary coat of
Yeah.
paving and a secondary,
Yeah.
because it's, there's also a large hole in that, what appears to me to be a first layer.
Right, and that's
of
what's down there.
Pavement, yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like it's
The-
completed.
The administration hired a contractor. The road will be prepped on Friday and paved on Monday, pending the weather.
Right, that's what the mayor said to her, that it would be done within 2 weeks when he went. So hopefully we won't see this item on the agenda again. And that's it.
Okay. Item number 24, Elliott Avenue. Councilwoman Catanzaro requests discussion and possible vote concerning Elliott Avenue and surrounding street flooding issues.
Thank you, Mr. President. The president and I had talked about Elliott Avenue just a few weeks ago, and I believe you spoke with the engineer, and he had given a figure.
Yeah, I had the town clerk reach out to him, and, do you know, Dave D'Amico, it was like about 5,000.
Yeah, it was somewhere.
Around $5,000 for Elliott Ave, but that was the one house, and there's
Right.
really like a Band-Aid over the real problem.
Right. Well, I'm assuming that you may receive the same emails from a couple of the residents, and the area is just very, very poor condition. I mean, when it rains, you can take a boat on Knapp Avenue, and people shouldn't have to live like that. I mean, Jeffers is the same way too. I know we have areas that are like that. We're not looking for a Band-Aid. I did talk to Chief Forza the other day, and what he said to me was there was money, they weren't putting it in the budget. We had gotten a letter from the mayor saying that he wasn't fixing it because the town council hadn't budgeted any money, but we didn't know how much it was going to cost to fix. Therefore, we couldn't budget it. The chief said that there was money that they were looking into from Evergreen Parkway when they had gone out for the grant, and they were going to try to utilize some of that money. Prior to the mayor leaving tonight, he gave Councilman Fiola this report. I'm assuming this is from, it's dated March 2013. I'm assuming this is from the engineer. And it's $312,369 with everything that needs to be done for the area. And then there's one dated March 2015, which is 2 years later. Now it's $352,000. So that's how long we've had this item on an agenda, trying to get that area fixed. I'm certain that there's not $352,000 in the budget to do this project. But I think it's imperative that, and I think the administration also knows the area is just in deplorable condition. It's a public health and safety issue. It's terrible. Maybe we can request that we get an update how much money is left for Evergreen Parkway from the administration, and ask if we can get a grant through Lisa Andosha to help support some of the updates over here that need to be done. I'm a proponent of, I know we have surplus money. I know everyone wants to grab this surplus money, but this is a real serious issue. So let's see what we have left, if the Evergreen Parkway money can be used, if the administration is willing to go out and look for a grant, and then maybe we can supplement it with something just to get the job done. So I'll put that in the form of a motion to send that to the administration, and then get back to us for next month.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Catanzaro and seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Chris, I
Evergreen
think you and I
Parkway.
should try reaching out.
Evergreen Parkway, yeah. When they went through the EPA and they got a grant. Oh, okay. And Dick said that there was extra money from that.
I think we should also reach out to our, and we may have a while ago, but our state delegation too, because look at how that issue finally got resolved for Mr. Black on,
Yep.
Near Rhode Island College. And
Is that because it was a state road or a state college?
but isn't Smithfield Road a state road that runs off of?
Uh-huh.
And a lot of the flooding is coming from that, so maybe we can try that angle. Just yeah. I don't know.
Do we want to send a letter to them too and ask them if?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll
Let's
make a
send-
motion to send a letter to our local delegation requesting any help that they can for that area.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Catanzaro, seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 25, Economic Development Committee Report, Town Council Discussion and Action with regard to the Economic Development Committee Report to be presented by Councilwoman Catanzaro.
Thank you, Mr. President. Everyone has a copy of the Economic Development Report. Would anyone like me to read it into the record? Has everyone read it? Otherwise, I'll make a motion to accept as presented and place on file.
I just have one question.
Yes.
Subject number one, the 184 Monasatucket Avenue, Dita Properties. Did you call them to that meeting, and did they show?
You'd have to ask the council president. I personally didn't.
He didn't show up, but I had a discussion with him on the phone. So he asked if it was necessary to come right now. I said, let us get a little more. I wanted the council to become familiar with the concept, and then we'll have you in.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you.
Motion's been made to accept the report and seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
Ordinance Committee Report, Town Council Discussion and Action with regard to the Ordinance Committee Report to be presented by Councilman Giusti.
Make a motion that we accept this.
Motion's been made by Councilman Giusti. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Warren. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? You guys have it. Item number 27, audit bids. Discussion and possible vote on the proposals for auditing services to be opened at this meeting. So we have 5, we usually have 1 response to these bids, but this year we got 5. So what we'll do is we'll open them.
You must be doing good.
We're going to refer them to the Finance Committee. I'd like the Finance Committee to have a meeting so we can have a decision by the April 27th special meeting, which is the budget public hearing.
Wow, 5.
Yeah.
Someone wants to do an audit in this town.
You must think our books are good. Well, we pay that.
This is the Oscars. I know. All right, the first bid is from Hague, Sahadi & Co., PC, Certified Public Accountants.
This is done as well.
Second bid is from the Bacon and Company, LLC. Certified Public Accountants.
The one we got, I'm gonna call him on it. The guy bid $18,000. Oh, that's right, yeah.
If you need more, you take more, we just, hopefully they can get it done by December. Wasn't intentional, but I'll put it 20 days. You'll see it. You'll see it now.
Third one from Ron L. Bellew and Company, Certified Public Accountants. Fourth from Blum Shapiro Accounting, Tax, and Business Consulting. And fifth from Robert J. Savetti, CPA, LLC.
he's not with Markham anymore. Yeah. He's by himself now. He's
Yeah.
not with Markham.
Really?
Yeah, he went on his own because he likes to do governmental auditing, and Markham wanted to be more out of the governmental auditing.
So I'm going to entertain a motion to send these bids to the Finance Committee and have a decision by the April 27th special meeting.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilman Juicy, seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it.
Oh, ask him.
Sir, can you come up to them? I'm sorry, we didn't realize you were here that whole time.
No, that's okay.
You just,
My name's Kyle Connors. I'm from Hagen Sahadi, so I was just here to see who was bidding on the job and see if you're going to read out the dollar amounts of the bids as we're trying to plan our audit here.
yeah, we'll have them in the clerk's office if you want to stop in and see them. You can stop in tomorrow and see
Come
them.
in tomorrow and you can look at it.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. Sorry we didn't realize.
Next time, let us know you're here. We put it to the head that way.
Oh, that's okay. I didn't want to rush you guys.
No, sorry about that.
That's all right.
Thank you for coming. Okay.
Thank you.
Item number 28, tax abatements. Under 1,000. Town council discussion and action with regard to the list of tax abatements under 1,000 received from Janice Muscatelli, acting tax assessor and Board of Tax Review, in the amount of $6.71 for real estate, $1,839.30 for motor vehicles, and $442.91 for motor vehicles with corresponding addendas.
I'll make a motion to abate.
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Catanzaro. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Brady. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Okay. Item number 29, Town Council discussion and action, possible vote with regard to the list of tax addenda received from Janice Muscatelli, acting tax assessor, in the amount of $442.91 for motor vehicles with corresponding abatements, and $11,072.68 for tangibles.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Catanzaro. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman DeStefanis. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 30, claims submitted to Town Council discussion and action with regard to claims received from the following: Leah Fiocco, 69 Pearl Avenue. That should be North Providence, Rhode Island. Jennifer Diaz, 7 Willern Street, North Providence, Rhode Island. Ben and Allison Tallman, 600 Smithfield Road, North Providence, Rhode Island. Robert K. Dorgan, 36 Wentworth Street, North Providence, Rhode Island. Ronald and Elizabeth Pace, 87 Jacksonia Drive, North Providence, Rhode Island. And Jean Roy, 70 Superior View Boulevard, North Providence, Rhode Island. Do I have a motion to send these claims to the Claims Committee?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilman Brady, seconded by Councilman Warren. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilman Catanzaro, seconded by Councilman Warren. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion.